So yeah, Pat, just tell me a little bit more about what was like going on in training and injury wise right before you ended up reaching out to us.
Um, well, training was kind of minimum. I was able to I was very ambitious with all my training always, and I had to dial that back significantly before reaching out. And I would get into these spots where I would, take some time off and do a little bit of light PT, and then start to incorporate weight training again, and
Mhm.
then just a matter of time before I tweak something and I'm back just, you know, two steps forward, sometimes one step back, sometimes two or three steps back. And it was just cyclical for probably about a year.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then life outside of training would affect the training as well in a
Yeah,
negative
definitely.
way. Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. Can you tell me a little bit more about like the actual like injury that you're dealing with, how it was like actually affecting what you were able to do in the gym and outside the gym?
Oh, absolutely. So prior to reaching out to you, I think I was the worst that I had been for the longest amount of time in a long time. So, like, I've had flare ups where I was on the floor for like 3 days or so. But just before we started talking, well, for months before we started talking, I had a flare up, and then I had radiating symptoms like sciatica down both legs.
Hmm.
I'm a teacher, so I'm on my knees. I'm a tech ed teacher. I'm always in the shop working with kids, working with machines. I'd find myself like hobbling around the shop and finding a stool nearby to interact with kids. I'd be sitting down during those interactions. Um, I actually was unable to walk from my classroom up the stairs to the lunchroom in one go. I'd have to take a break because as I started walking, and this is, I had to stop playing sports recreationally.
Hmm.
I couldn't go for my family. We like to go for hikes. We had to stop doing that because I'd be able to walk for like 30 seconds, and then I would just get a burning tingling in my feet, and it would go up my leg, and then just be unable to continue. And it was just
Hmm.
awful. I'd have to like bend down, squat down on the trail or sit down someplace. And so really it just affected literally every aspect of life. I couldn't be up on my feet for more than a minute or two at a time.
Hmm. Hey
Yeah.
man, how did that like um affect you like headspace wise, especially coming from somebody who like trained so much before and was into like sports and all
Oof.
that?
Really difficult. I'd say it was very depressing to have this realization, like, hey, this might be it. Like, this might
Hmm.
be because I, try to avoid doctors as everybody does, but then, people talk about surgeries, and I was like, I just don't want that. I hear, surgery sometimes can restore functionality, but then it comes with like pain that you just can't touch, but you're
Hmm.
functioning. You know what I mean? So I was like, well, if I sit down or I lay down, I'm not in pain, but I'm also not doing anything. So that sucks too. And I'm just I wasn't not ready to sit on the couch and die. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
still want to get out and do things. And, I feel like if you think about your life as a long journey or whatever, um, it's funny. I'm dealing with this now. You have ambition when you're young, but no resources. And now that I'm gaining resources, my ambition's starting to decline because my ability is declining, and that's
Hmm.
that's tough to deal with. Um, but still want to get out there and do it. So
Yeah, for sure, man. Do you have
yeah.
any like big ambitions in mind?
Not necessarily. I don't have like delusions of grandeur. Like, I'm not going to be a professional athlete. I'm not going to be,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? So I'm not going to hit any records in the gym or in a powerlifting competition. But
Hmm.
like, you know, you see, I'm actually somebody mentioned to me the other day, like, oh, they asked how old I was. I'm like, you don't seem that old. And I'm like, well, that's good. I think it's because I'm like active, and there's some guys that are a lot older than I am that are in better shape and still proactive or still active rather. And I think that's where I'm at.
Hmm.
I want to keep competing in different realms and still explore new parts of life. I'm only halfway through, so there's still lots to
Hmm.
do.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
Now, could you kind of outline a little bit more of like what you were doing to try to fix this issue before we start working together, like self-rehab, PT stuff, things like that?
Yeah. So I actually saw a couple of different PTs. And the reason I didn't continue with certain PTs is I'm not sure that I agreed with where we were going.
Mm.
So to start out, there was the McKenzie method. I liked it. I have success in it. Um, but I was with a PT that we started with like the McKenzie method, press ups and side glides and the whole thing. Everything's extension, no
Yep.
flexion. Once symptoms started to calm down, then they said, all right, now we're going to start working you into flexion. And I said, cool. And I felt like we kind of hit we kind of hit a spot where like everything's body weight, everything's, a movement where I'm lying down. And although I appreciate I don't know how I want to phrase that, the precision of what we were doing,
Mhm.
it didn't progress with my needs, if that makes sense. So some of the movements I'd be like laying on my side, pushing my back's to a wall, I'm laying on my side, and like my knees bent 90 degrees. I'm supposed to push my heel into the wall, like glute heavy stuff. But
Mhm.
all of it was isometrics.
Yeah.
And I think like that was the most advanced thing that we did was isometric. There was no loaded motion ever.
Mm.
And even when we got into flexion, it was like not even a Jefferson curl, but like I would sit on a chair and like bend over to my toes. You know what I mean? Like that was
Yeah.
the most intense thing that we were doing. And I was like,
Mhm.
I think I need to load motions. And
Mhm.
and then I went to another PT to see a well renowned PT. He's up and down the East Coast actually. And I was like, all right, I'll go see him. He's the guy. And I didn't see the main guy. I saw one of the guys that did work. Great dude, did great work, but we were doing a lot of stretching.
Mm.
And like I felt like that was it. And the most advanced thing that we did with him was I think I told you about this before, called the newbie. It's like a TENS
Yes.
unit, but it's DC.
Yeah.
Great results with that. And I started, they gave me two or three sessions, maybe it was 2 weeks of sessions, and I'm starting to see some results. And he's like, good. Good news, bad news. Good news, we have an avenue. Bad news is insurance doesn't cover this. So I was like, well, I can't do it then. So, and then I thought back to a conversation I had with the first PT, and they recommended I reach out to find somebody like you who is a PT and
Mhm.
also a strength coach. And then that would help me progress through. Because all in all, like we were getting to me, I think both, the goal of both clinicians was to regain function so that I could continue my life.
Mhm.
But it really wasn't, it was continuation with significant modification.
Yeah.
And that's not my goal, you
Right.
know,
It's kind of like getting you back to function for just like regular daily activities,
right?
household stuff, getting
Bathe myself.
groceries, all
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah.
like necessarily the level of function that you were looking for.
Exactly, exactly. So I would go through their thing, go through their protocols. I'd feel good, and then they're like, "All right, well, why don't you try dabbling some weights? Why don't you go play a sport or whatever?" And then I'm like, "Hey, I'm right back."
Mhm.
I wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but like when they kind of gave you the go ahead to start getting back into lifting or sports, um, it was kind of a situation where like they just gave you the green light, but maybe not an actual like plan or strategy to ease your way back in to reduce the risk of like a flare up or to do it in like an intelligent manner, right?
100% accurate. And
Mm,
and they weren't like how do I say? They weren't like through conversations. They were like, "All right, well, it seems like you know what you're doing in the weight room," and there I was like, "We don't study that."
mhm.
So it's like we can't give you guidance on, like it wasn't like a you're good to go. It was like we don't really know how to. And they were open
Yeah.
about it there, and I appreciated that too.
Mhm.
They were had humility in that field. I did have one PT that was like used to be in the CrossFit,
Mhm.
and so she was like, "Hey, bring your lifting shoes. Let me check them out." And then she brought a barbell, and she had a broad barbell in there. She's we just go through some motions, and they were loaded with 45 pounds, and that's it. And they're like, "Oh, this looks good, that looks good," and then go ahead, do your thing.
Okay. All right. Fair enough, man.
Yeah,
So yeah, so we've now been working together for just finish up like or finishing up 3 months rather. Can
yeah,
you kind of go over some like the progress and results you've seen in that time frame? Like what have you been able to get back to doing?
yeah, absolutely. So I reached out to you the other week. In one of our check-ins, my wife, first of all, is saying like, "Hey, man, I don't know." She doesn't know any particulars. She goes, "Every dollar that goes to this guy is totally worth it, man, because like I am walking differently around the house. My demeanor is differently because like I'll go back to the first part of the question.
Mhm.
This is important, really important, because take my kid home from school after a long day of on my feet. I'm in a lot of pain, whatever, and I'm trying to be a good dad. And
Yeah.
like we'd get up to the house and I'm like, "All right, man, we're here." And he'd be like, "Dad, are you mad at me?" I'm like, "No, man. Like
Oh.
I'm not mad at you at all." And I was like, I didn't realize how much it was affecting my relationship with my kid. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I didn't have any. He's a great kid, but like just me trying to keep it together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's tough,
Um,
man.
Sorry, somebody's popping in.
Oh no, you're fine.
Hey, hey, I'm in a doctor's meeting right now. Video. I'll catch up with you later. I did. Thank you very much. Um, where was I? Oh, so my wife even mentioned she's like, yeah, you're walking around better, And then I said something like, I was tying my shoes the other day, and I was like, I'm not bracing right now. I'm just tying my shoes. Isn't that
Mm,
cool?
yeah.
And so, um, I think I lost track of the question. I apologize. I started going real small.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
no,
okay.
just like
I remember now. Yeah.
what you've gotten back to doing so far.
So I'm playing volleyball again. We're doing an indoor league right now, and it's pretty competitive. It's not as intense as the outdoor season when I get
Mm,
involved in that, but like I'm able to jump, not nearly as high as I could prior to all this, but like I can get off the floor, and
mm,
when I'm done, I'm not like in a lot of pain. Like there were days I think I played last year too, through some pain, which was bad, and there were games where like I'd come off the court and I'd have to pop some pills just to get home. Um, there was a game last year. It was like we were in a playoff match, and I lost sensation in my right
mm,
leg, and
mm,
it was bad. And I was just like, what am I even doing here?
mm.
Like. But right now we're mostly through our season. We're in first place.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
making big plays. I'm not who I was before all this, but hopefully I can get back to it.
Mm.
We're on our way up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
What have been some like the lifts that you've been able to hit in training now?
so I think I've been struggling with the squat as I've been reaching out a lot to you. I think I have to relearn how to move my body because it's been
Mm,
so long since I've been trying them. So unfortunately, and we're doing still light work for form work.
mm,
So confidently, I think I'm squatting my body weight on top of me,
mm,
and that's not a whole lot as far as I used to do, but like I think that's good. Deadlifting, since we're still doing slow, controlled motions, I'm closing in on 300, but I'm
mm.
not going to do it with a pause. I'm going to wait till we get the just a regular deadlift.
Yeah.
We're doing power cleans are good. Bench pressing. This is cool. Came upstairs after a PT session, and I said to my wife, I was like, I just benched like 285 pounds for 2 reps, and I didn't sweat it. And I haven't touched any of that in like years.
Yeah, that's
So again, we're
awesome, man.
closing in on 300 again, and then like that, I think, I feel good about that. But like, I really want to get the deadlift and the squat up too because I
Mhm.
think they're going to help push the bench press with it. But it's just good. Like everything's moving forward. I was doing pause deadlifts. What's today? Friday, Wednesday, and I was just like, that was a trigger in the past, so I'm not really pushing it too hard. But I was like, dude,
Mhm.
I feel really good. I'm gonna start throwing weights on. So like I just
Yeah,
not much. I'm like, let's not overdo it. Let's put 10 on each side and do another set, and then 10 on each side. We'll do another set, and yeah, I feel confident that if I were to just walk in there and throw 3 plates on, I'd be able to deadlift it without any pain and
oh for
have pretty
sure.
good form. I'm not going to press it yet until you know
Mhm.
what I mean. That's one of our biggest lessons. Uh, I'm going to
Yeah,
wait
nice
for
gradual approach.
yeah, and I think I'm pretty sure this is intentional, but you're putting movements on that it doesn't make sense to push the envelope.
Mm,
Like, why am I going to do like a 4 second eccentric with a pause max deadlift right now? You know what I mean?
mhm, mhm.
So,
Amen.
yeah.
What, like, if anything in particular, do you feel like has been like really different about what we're doing compared to what you've been doing before? Like, what do you feel like has really helped you see the results that you've seen so far?
I think it's there's a series of movements that you have in my programming that I would never have done. I could have read a bunch of articles and a bunch of studies saying, "Hey, here's your silver bullet." You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Do and I'm like, "Fuck you, I'm not doing that." You know what I mean? And what was one of them? Hip thrusts. I would never
Mhm.
do them. And I
Mhm.
know there were progression on to getting something else.
Yep.
I'm glad that they were very brief in our programming. I don't really like them.
That's
But then
fair.
there was one that was like I'm trying to think of recent blocks. There's, of course, the Roman chair work and the Jefferson curls. I know
Mm.
you were big on the Jeff. I was worried about Jefferson curls because like there
Yeah.
was a thing a couple of years all over social media about Jefferson curls and like, don't do them, they're bad for your back. And they're like, no, they're just fine. And then who's that guy? Stuart McGill, the Canadian spine doctor.
Mhm.
I read one of his articles on it. I think he did a meta-analysis and he's like, they're fine. People are loading them. Like you're not going to deadlift 500 pounds on a Jefferson curl. That's stupid. But if you
Mhm.
have like 35 pounds in your hand, that's probably going to be pretty good for you.
Mhm.
So like, what do they say? The poison's in the dosage or something like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I'm trying to think. There was one. I think it was. I'm trying to think what it was called. It was a single leg RDL landmine, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I did that, and I was like, "Holy shit, man! My everything is lighting up just right."
It's
And
a
like,
great one, right?
I never would have done that. I could have read
Hmm.
all about that, and like, I'm not big on. I didn't like the RDLs so much, but I was like, I think they're important, and that's why I think that those movements are why I feel confident that I could go do it, even though I haven't done it, because
Yeah.
I'm pushing myself through these slow, controlled motions that I don't normally train.
Mhm.
And like for me, I think it really highlights the nerve the nerve issue. What do they call what's the term for that?
There's a couple different ones, like radiculopathy. That's
Thank
a
you.
very common term. Yeah.
Wait, maybe it's ridiculous. Is that when like the nerves aren't firing quite right down the chain?
Yeah, there's like radiculopathy where the actual like nerve root has been injured or impaired. Referred pain, those are
Yeah,
commonly
referred
kind of
pain.
intertwined
I think it's
terms.
ridiculous. I had a doctor say, "It's like, well, you very clearly there's radiculopathy down here." Like,
Yeah.
and so that those movements are highlighting that. It's not. I'm not having necessarily a strength issue in those movements. I'm having like a communication issue in those movements, so that
Mhm.
like what I'm supposed to be firing and how I'm supposed to be moving is not quite right. And that's why I reached out a whole bunch of times about the squat because I was like,
Mhm.
I just don't feel in control in the pocket. I just like as I get lower, I'm feeling like the lower abdomen area is not tightening up
Mhm.
as I feel like it should be. Like I remember being young and just being like, yeah, man, throw 4 plates on there. Let's get after it. And like I got two on there. I'm like, I don't think this is right.
Mhm.
And it's really highlighting those areas and making me sensitive to it. And because we're doing this, I'm starting to gain control back.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Yeah.
So obviously seen some like really good progress so far. We're gonna
Yeah.
continue like progressing this stuff and working towards performance goals and all that. Um, like what if any fears or hesitations did you have about signing up with us before you actually ended up pulling the trigger and doing so? It could be things like price, lack of insurance coverage, fully online kind of nature of this, anything like that.
All three of those.
Mm.
Like I don't
Fair. Yeah.
I'm a public educator. I don't really have any money. And it just so happens, like I think I told you too, like I have a HSA account.
Mhm.
And I started it years back. I was like, I'm pretty healthy. I never see the doctor. I started that. My wife has epilepsy. She's now on our insurance. I had to cancel that plan and now I'm on a regular PPO.
Mm.
But I still had the HSA sitting around. And I was like, I'd like to invest that money or whatever. I was like, what better investment can I make in my own health?
Yeah.
So I think I reached, I don't know how what the timeline was. I think it was a couple of weeks, but I was like kind of hemming and hawing about the price. And I was like, I have no idea what it's going to be like for the distance thing. I don't know how to navigate this. I've never had like a doctor or somebody that I'm paying to have this professional relationship with. And where's my line with like how often can I reach out? What's too much? What's not enough? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like just
Yeah.
navigating this is totally foreign to me. Um, yeah. I think what was the third one you said? Was
Oh yeah, just like the kind of
price
like the
remote.
fully online nature, like no
Yeah.
in-person
Yeah.
sessions or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that part I was kind of curious about. Like I wasn't sure if we were going to do a lot of like a film analysis or like if the session was going to look like, hey man, set up a tripod and let's like zoom and let me watch you work out. Like I was like that my basement's a disgusting mess. You know what I mean? Like that's. I'm like it's kind of my dungeon. That's the
Mhm.
idea. I like it. I like the feel of that. But
Yeah.
so yeah, there's that. And but yeah, it's all working out. It's like, if there's an issue, I reach out and if I'm not sure about technique, I can, there's videos and
Mhm.
yeah.
Right. Awesome, man. So, I guess like last question I have in mind for you is, if you had to like summarize your experience and results in like one session or one sentence so far, what would that be for you, Pat?
I'm going from in pain and skeptical to lack of pain, sometimes a zero. Right now, I'm not in any pain at all, and I'm sitting in a chair. I have been for like 3 hours, and
Mhm.
that would be a problem in the past. Sorry, that was more than one sentence now.
That's all right. It's
That
all
was
good, man.
a, and now I'm moving into more confidence, less pain and more confidence. Yeah,
Mm.
in my own
Awesome, man.
abilities and what we're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that.
yeah,
And thank you for taking the time to talk with me about this stuff. I really
no
appreciate it.
problem. Yeah, thank you.
Of course. See